Money on my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's good, everybody? The numbers are in. We are back at it. This is the first full week of the month of July 2025. So you know what we got to do. We got to get down to the numbers. We got to see how we did, how things shook out, what improvements we can make, what happened, why it happened. This is the financial breakdown. There's nobody else on the internet giving you this level of transparency on the climb. First and foremost, I want to make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. Secondly, if you've been here more than twice, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the Wolf Pack down below. Next to that subscribe button is going to be a bell notification. You're going to want to turn all those on. I promise I'm not going to flood your feed. And I got one last assignment for those of you who are already a part of the Wolf Pack. Share the video. Let's go ahead and get this out into the algorithm. I obviously, over here, we're not really posting anything too controversial. But we are giving solid information with receipts. Also, I'm not preaching at you from the mountaintop. I am showing you the climb with you. So, that said, we're still on the grind to get into 500 subs. Let's get it, people. Okay, so let's jump right on into it. We're going to start off, and I'm trying to do some things to make this a little bit more helpful for those of you that like scroll through or have specific sections you want to look at. We are down over the month in net worth, and I know that's going to sound crazy, but like we had a crazy run up towards the end of the month, collectively. But we also have a few different portfolios that are performing at a few different clips. So obviously, our DeFi income portfolio is down 23%. Our income portfolio, which are two outside of our just regular crypto portfolios, outliers, they're a little bit more volatile, I would say. Yeah, I would say those are the volatile ones. I don't consider my Bitcoin volatile. Like that's what it is. But as we're looking at these different portfolios, the net worth fluctuates when you have volatility, and I'm fine with that. So this month we are down $2,543.11. Ballpark, last month we were at 76,000. This month we are at 73,000 and some change, basically is what it is. Not every month is an up month, and not every guru out here, because I don't consider myself a guru. I'm just some guy on the internet giving you his story, his tale, his adventures in this financial hellscape that we find ourselves in. You're just not going to win every month. But moving forward, it's about the long term. I'm not worried about the individual months. I'm more concerned about the individual year, 5-year, and 10-year numbers. So, we're going into Q2. This isn't too bad, considering that we had a run up at the end of the month that was not really recorded. So we get to see what the end result of that's going to be. Next, we have, let's move it on. We've got our savings percentage. This month, we were at, and this is a more realistic number, actually. This month, we were at 58.51%. That means I saved 58, a little bit over half, of all the income that came in, went into investments because we don't save in cash. Cash is no longer king. Cash is poison. So we had 58% of the income that was generated this month. It's pretty awesome. Dedicated to income or exponential growth. Those are the two things that I care about. I either need outperformance in income or I need exponential growth. My hurdle rate is Bitcoin. Those who understand, buy Bitcoin. Those who do not understand, talk and pontificate about Bitcoin. And we are not talking and pontificating. So everything that I have in my portfolios, I've said this multiple times on all my different streams, but I will say it on this one as well. All roads lead to Rome. Everything that I'm doing is to either replace my income or acquire more Bitcoin. One of the things that I will be instituting on my portfolios is I will be doing a conversion into Bitcoin out of our long-term holdings annually if we're in profit. That's one of the things I'm going to do, because obviously my long-term portfolio is something that I look at as Bitcoin that I'm willing to sell, but also I like being able to stock that away, because as we get more financial tools built around Bitcoin, we'll have the ability to leverage. And I have no intent of ever bringing my Bitcoin out of cold storage to leverage, which means I have to get another stash of Bitcoin, which means I am now back on the road to getting another whole Bitcoin. And yeah, it's gonna be a grind at this point, but you know, it'll be a fun grind. I at least want to get to the minimum metric for borrowing, which currently in the state that I'm in is actually over 1 Bitcoin. So we're gonna have to be making some massive adjustments in the style of and the trajectory of what we're doing, but you know, what it is what it is. So the other thing that I'm looking at doing, obviously, with the income portfolio, and the reason I'm prioritizing that is to replace my W-2 income, because I don't like where my W-2 income is coming from right now. And I'm not intending on doing that for forever, because I'm not going to destroy my body to, you know, be falling apart and almost expiring at retirement because they told me I could retire. Like, I'm not on that payment plan. We'll put it that way, that life trajectory. So right now we are at 25 months left now that we've hit July. And yes, I am counting them down. Keeps me on task, keeps me focused. But I'm trying to see if I can get out any sooner. So we're doing anything and everything we can to streamline that. We hit our goal of Misty of 2,000 shares of Misty. So now I can start my next position on that. I have covered now my home expenses. All of my stagnant solid state expenses are now covered. I want to have 2 times that. So I gotta actually update, because my mortgage went up a little bit. It's the first time it's gone up in a while. So I've got to recalculate those numbers to see where we're sitting, because once we get to where we need to go, I will be shifting gears and honestly probably completely focusing on the lifestyle piece of it, because I do have that portfolio going. I'll start putting a little bit more money over there to, you know, get that pool of cash up, because right now we're just self-reinvesting itself. Since we've hit our 2,000 shares of Misty, we are making some adjustments within that portfolio, but you'll need to tap in tomorrow to get those updates, because that's coming right behind this one on Tuesday. We will have the portfolio update as well, where we'll jump in the Charles Schwab and talk about where we're at. And yeah, that's kind of where that is. Last month, for reference, and the reason I say this is a more realistic number at 58.51% is because last month we were at 84%, which was a Hail Mary month. Like, I was doing a lot. We went real deep into the margin, a little bit more margin than I was comfortable with, but it made the play pay off. Like, it paid off. So it was a good thing that we did that during the month of May. But we can't be tapping like that every single month. And honestly, now that we're at the 2,000 shares and I'm ready to start focusing on knocking out this debt, which tap in Saturday, we got the update for Debt Crusher episode. I'm no longer going to be tapping into the margin anywhere close to what I was in regards to that, because I need the majority of that dividend is going to be going towards chunking this debt down, which I'm excited. We got 2,000 shares just in time for the double pay for August. So I'm gauging that we're going to be probably, hopefully, at least at $1. That's my bare minimum metric. And so all my positions in this portfolio, in my portfolios in general, are based on, especially the core income portfolio, are based on $2,000 per position. And so I want that portfolio at minimum to be spitting out $4,000, which means that I base on worst case scenario based on the position. So I will be looking at our next position to kind of do some loose math to see how many shares we're going to need in the next position. I'm excited to announce it, but I'm not going to announce it. You guys will see it on, those of you who follow me on X, which is, you can follow me on all my socials down in the description, but on X or Instagram or Facebook, because it ends up on my Facebook and Instagram story. Or if you're following me on X, you'll see it on X when I post it, because normally I get around to doing the stories later because I'm at work at my W-2 job I don't want to go to. So, yeah, more realistic. We shoot for 40+%. For those of you in the fire movement, my fire movement people, they'll respect these numbers. It's I'm trying, putting forth an effort, doing a lot better than most people, and I'm not having to eat beanie weenies, which is cool. So we're tapped in there. Next, we move on to the total saved, which total saved this month was $3,714.51, which is not bad at all to have going into investments in some form or fashion. That is down, obviously, since we didn't save 84% of our income, which is down from the 3,000. It's down $3,951.49 from last month, which is par for the course. That was a stellar month. I think we're going to have at least one of those months every year until I no longer have to go to work. And then, once I don't have to go to work, we should have a consistent number of about 50%, which is what I'm factoring in. And I know a lot of people, they're looking at retirement in the sense of, oh, I'm going to eat my portfolio and I'm just not going to work again and I'm not going to do anything. I'm not trying to work. I'm not trying to be forced to be subjected to situations that either don't match my value set, don't match the leadership style that I prefer, because I don't like seeing people getting treated bad or taken advantage of, or that I just don't want to do. So, and I mean, I understand it's called work. You don't necessarily always want to do it, but I mean, in general, like, you shouldn't be going in most of the days sucking, dreading the start of the week. Like, I don't want to live in that world. I like high stress environments, but I don't like manufactured high stress environments. We'll put it that way. It's just not amicable for me, especially if I'm being underutilized and like I know that I'm being taken advantage of, and it just doesn't work. So we are factoring in my high yield dividend portfolio, because people will be like, oh, like, I made my income, I'm quitting. And they make an emotional decision and then they end up having to go back to work. I don't want to end up having to go back to work. I want to be able to find something that I want to do. Obviously, I might just find some putt-putt job to hold me over, because I need something to do. I do understand that. But in that interim phase, I don't want to have to worry about the pay on it. I want to try and get into fields that I find interesting. Moving with intention, not desperation, which most of you are just chasing the check. I got to get the bag. I got to get the highest paying job. I don't even care if I'm interested in this. I don't care if I like it, whatever. I just need the check because I got to keep this roof over my head. Well, my roof is kept over my head now, pretty much indefinitely. So we've got to clear our debt. We're starting to work on our exit plan, which is the reason we're at 25 months. Isn't just the monetary part of it. There's some path clearing that I want done before I officially leave the workforce in that sense. And, you know, I got a couple of projects to get done. And I want to do that while I have dual income, preferably while I have double my income at minimum. But once we leave, we're looking at everything's going to be 2.5 to 4x what we're making now. So that way it's not a question. It's just like, if I want to go do something, I can go do it. I'll be able to have exactly the mobility that I have now. But I stress that people factor in continuing to invest. Like, why would you just eat and condense something if you can have it indefinitely? If you set up a system, set up a machine to where you're constantly feeding into these things. Like, I'm going to be able to reinvest in my dividend income portfolio. I'm going to be able to grow my long-term holdings portfolio, which basically is a portfolio that consists of Bitcoin derivative things that I'm willing to part ways with. And not only that, be able to continue to purchase Bitcoin indefinitely for the longer tail out. We're trying to join the NBA over here. Never broke again. That's the goal. That's the focus. So these saving numbers do matter quite a bit. The majority of it right now is being turned into income. As you guys know, I wear the Bitcoin hat every time I normally have something orange on or something crypto related. All roads need to lead to Bitcoin, but you have to replace the medium in which I get my money, because that's where the freedom comes from. So we are focused on getting dollars. And the thing that I always stress is understand, you're not trying to stay in dollars. That's not the game that I'm playing. And I understand the high yield stuff. It looks nice. You guys get to see the big numbers. I get to do the post about my income that comes in when Misty pays every month, and it's cool and it's fun. But those are dollars. And the thing that you have to understand is those dollars get burnt immediately as they come in. I do not hold dollars. Like, my bank accounts, all of my accounts, because I normally keep 3 accounts per bank, they have $150 in it. Like, and that's $50 in each account. And actually, I think I whittled it down to $25 because I've gotten a little bit better at navigating and moving this money around. And it's just, I don't like sitting in dollars. I just don't. I don't like it. They're pointless. I can't buy as much stuff. Saving in dollars is stupid to me, especially when I could be getting more income every week, every month by putting it in high yield, or exponential growth by just buying Bitcoin. I mean, I would honestly rather have it in the long-term holdings portfolio and buy shares of MicroStrategy, something, anything else, anything. I don't actually even care what it is, as long as it's beating inflation and not being actively debased. When we get paid in dollars, though, we're getting paid in something that's being actively debased. So that day, that week, at minimum, all those dollars are going somewhere else where they're not being debased. Because if you're just sitting on dollars and you're just having that income, you're going broke slow. Well, actually, you're not even going broke slowly at this point. You're going broke rather quickly. So that's my ethos on that. We're going to move on. Monthly income. We are down $2,777 from last month. Monthly income. Hold up. This chart real quick. So I think I miswrote that. Yeah. Okay. So we are down $2,777. That's where we're at. Okay. Sorry. I just miswrote that when I was taking notes because I decided to do this episode right after I woke up and took a shower. So that's just where we are. We're down $2,777. Obviously, our dividend income was down. Side hustle income down. Everything was down. We just didn't do what we did in May. Like, I mean, when you have money just show up every once in a while and it's not consistent, it's not consistent. Dividends are kind of semi-consistent, but overall not consistent. And this is why, because you'll have your numbers shift. Then we'll go ahead and walk this through. So the dividend income was $2,754 for last month, which was previously at $3,699, which we're down around $945 from the month prior. Whew, getting hot in here. Because dividends aren't consistent. And that is the reason it is important when you're factoring, at least for those of us trying to retire early, for those of you who want to go on the boomer plan and work till you're 60, 70, or 80, whatever, cool. You're going to eat your portfolio. But for those of us who are using these portfolios specifically in a taxable account, so that way we can leave the workforce early, it's the reason you overshoot your goals by an order of magnitude. So for me, it's 2.5 to 3 times what I'm currently earning. And I base it off my current salary. Now, my current take home, my current gross is what my targets are. So we're looking at getting to 2.5 to 3 times those numbers, which I'm pretty sure once we get to parity with my current, I mean, honestly, once the debt's paid off, once we get this debt knocked out, it's going to be such a fast downhill because I'll have so much more expendable resources because I'm not going to rack up another $28,000 in debt right after I get it, unless we start leveraging to build these portfolios back up. But it's not going to be like random consumer debt and hopefully not random surgery debt. Like those are kind of the goals there. But for me personally, it's a 2.5 to, not 2.5 to 3.5. It's 2.5 to 4x what I'm currently making would comfortably it would keep me I'm comfortable now. It would keep me comfortable at where I'm at now and allow me to invest at a greater clip than what I'm doing right now. And the whole premise of this is like you keep growing it, you keep growing your income machine, you keep growing your portfolio, you keep growing your Bitcoin holdings. And then that way you have a 3-tiered defense against having to go back to work if you don't want to. And you're indefinitely staying wealthy. Like the cycle, the law of large numbers just runs away. And, you live a good life, hopefully, and get to do a bunch of stuff that you want to do versus being forced to sacrifice your time, your labor, your energy for those who are not respectful of it, who do not value it, who do not value you, and, get yourself quote unquote freedom. Moving on, we got DeFi income. This is going to be a quick one. We didn't have any. I decided that I would prefer to put off for the future. And we're going to be having some DeFi cash outs towards the end of this month versus doing it last month. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue. I'm probably going to stay on that bi-monthly trajectory because I like to have a little bit more money to throw around. The interesting thing about the DeFi is we're switching up that strategy and we're actually going to use that to backstop the Bitcoin. So we're going to continue buying Bitcoin with that DeFi income, and we'll be sitting it over on Strike, getting that ready for at a certain point when we are able to leverage to add another torquing mechanism to our ability to build income. Last but not least, closing it out, we have the credit for the month. Our credit was at 714, which was the exact same that it was at the end of May. Now, going for July, it actually might be around the same, might dip a little bit. We'll see what it looks like. But one of the interesting things is starting in August. Now, starting in August, when we start attacking this debt, we should see this number start climbing up expeditiously. Like it should start rocketing up moving forward because the majority of the dividend, at least 60%, 70% probably, around 70%, is going to be going straight towards knocking out the debt. So we have $28,000 in debt in August. We'll say we get lucky and the market's up MicroStrategies IV pops back up for us so that we can make some money off Misty. And in a pie in the sky scenario, we wind up getting $10,000 in August. Pie in the sky. That would mean that we would have $7,000 going straight to pay off debt. Just big baseball chunk numbers. And as we pay that debt off, if we were to have that hypothetical scenario play out, we would also be ratcheting up, because that would put us in the space of the first tier of our scaling plan, which is as we're paying off the debt, we're scaling more of our income into our portfolios. So that would mean we'd be buying a little bit more Bitcoin every month, because we have a little bit more breathing room. And instead of spending that money, we're investing that money as it comes off. We have a little bit more breathing room. And I understand most people would be like, oh, well, don't do the scaling, just pay off the debt as fast as you can. And for me, I have an income generation machine that is almost matching my income, that I don't have to do anything for besides a little bit of management, a little bit of maintenance. I mean, I incessantly look at it every day because I like looking at stuff. But it's basically a little bit of work every week, like maybe 10 minutes to look at it. Just like, do I want to be in this position? Do I want to keep it? Am I keeping it? Yeah, I'm keeping it. It doesn't require a lot of labor for me. This is strategic mental labor, and I'm looking at the next position now. I'm not even worried about the one that it just got finished. But that's going to mean, like, as I'm not going to just laser focus, because I mean, if I'm getting $7,000 here, most month it's probably going to be around, I'd say $2,000 to $5,000 every month. We're looking at like 4 months down the road. This is gone. But I'm scaling in and making sure that, like, I'm tightening that check every time, so that way more of it just goes into the income machine to begin with. I'm like, cool, like, let's just get this done. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's going to be some good stuff. And as we knock this out, the credit goes up, which means I will have the opportunity, as we're getting through this debt, to leverage again, which is how I started these portfolios to begin with, and, take it to the next level. Now, actually, you know what? When we leveraged originally, I bought a little bit of Bitcoin also. Like, whenever I take large amounts of money to do anything, I buy a little bit of Bitcoin, like, normally. The debt payoff, we already have that factored in. I get to get rid of my my pre-$2,000 2,000 shares of Misty plan. I get to remove that card next week when my deposit from my brokerage account hits. So this is the last maintenance month. So I can get rid of that card. We've got a different strategy moving forward now that we're on the other side of 2,000 shares of Misty. And we're going to do an episode of that. That's going to be on future financial strategies episode, our Bag Talk episode that we have on Thursdays. So tap in on Thursdays if you want to get the update on that. So this has been another monthly update. I'm doing pretty good. I got these down about 30 minutes. That's awesome. So I'm trying to get through these as fast as possible. I know people don't like me ranting, so I'm trying to cut back. I really am. And we're trying to stay focused, because I do want you guys to, like, absorb and get this information. And hopefully some of this works for you and some of your financial struggles and woes. I mean, I know that a lot of people can get with me on the job front and not wanting to have to go to work. It's not that I don't want to go to work. I don't want to have to go to work. Because when you have to go to work, people talk crazy to you. When you have to go to work, people don't treat you the way that, you should treat another human being, with, respect, courtesy, gratefulness. And they kind of start treating you like the peasant that they think you are. And honestly, if you gotta be there, you're a little bit of a peasant. And I don't want anyone in the wolf pack to be at peasant status. We are fighting our way out of peasanthood. And so I'm documenting my journey so that hopefully you can take some footnotes, find a way to streamline it. I'm not saying that I do everything perfect, but I am doing the best that I can, and I am getting results. So hopefully this works for some of you. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, turn the notifications on so you guys can tap in with me when we do these drops. So that way you can get this game. Don't forget to share this with your communities, because over here in the Wolfpack, we're not trying to get rich by ourselves. Also, this is financial entertainment. This is not financial advice. I'm a dude on the internet. It is very imperative, very important that you do not believe anybody that you see out here in these YouTube streets, and you do your own research to verify what we're talking about. And also, even more importantly, if I'm blatantly wrong on something, shout me out down in the comments. Let me know, because I do make adjustments based on the feedback that I get from you guys. You guys put me on to things. The conversations that I have offline with my Wolfpack members that tap in with me put me on. Like, it's constantly, I am always learning. If you're not always learning, you're going to be always losing. Those are just the facts. So I take information from everyone. Now, obviously, when I first started this channel, my first video, someone said these products suck about Misty. And, you know, there was no back and forth. There was no reply. It was just some nameless, faceless troll on the internet that's mad that he's not making the money that we're making. And that feedback I don't take, because I did ask the question, and then moving forward, we're X amount of episodes in. The troll hasn't shown back up because I give the receipts every month. And we're moving in the right direction every month. That's crazy. So I'm not just going to cow down, but I'm always up for having that conversation. Also, I'm also up for collabs. So anybody who wants to talk about money, sign me up. I'm always down. I will make the time. I can figure that out. Because your boy's out here in these streets, you know, grinding, doing all the things. So if you've got content creators that you think would be like a good mesh, or some people that I think it would be cool to have like some panel conversations about finance. Like, I come from a space where we were just arguing about stuff that really isn't important. And I think if we get the money right, a lot of the other stuff will fall into place for most people. So bear that in mind. You keep Reckless Ray Dinero in mind. He's not scared to talk to other content creators. And yeah, I mean, that's going to be our episode for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been another episode of financial updates. This one was for the month of June of 2025. Thank you guys for tapping in with me. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero. And until next month, we are out.
Money on my mind. Yeah. Focus, got no time for games. Nah. I don't play it, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.